some of the barriers that has affected newcomers, refugee claimants, and convention refugees. I want to welcome everyone who have taken time to come and listen to the information session, which in a way is significant in terms of information sharing and in terms of broadening our mind on issues regarding to immigration and refugee protection and the day-to-day living, because being a newcomer in a new territory, it's stressing. You need a lot of information, you need a lot of connections, and as well, you need to find your bearing. Like Madam Edith has introduced, my name is Stanley Atona, and I hold a Master's of Law from University of Ottawa, and I've practiced immigration law for many years. I'm going to talk about three thematic areas. I'll talk about the basis of claim. I'll talk about how you can elevate in your studies in Canada, especially internationally trained professionals or graduates from another jurisdiction. The Immigration and Refugee Protection Board grants you protection status. What would be your next step? The next step, I'll talk about it shortly. I'll start by talking about the basis of claim. Before I talk about the basis of claim, what would initiate somebody to file this claim? As a refugee claimant, okay, let's go into the contextual definitions. Who is a refugee claimant? A refugee claimant is a person who has fled their country and crossed an international border into the territories of another country to seek for protection. And protection needs varies from political membership of a particular social group, things like war, issues like to deal with adolescents at risk, women at risk, domestic violence, and sexual and gender-based violence. So once you flee from your country of persecution, into the protecting, which called the safe zones, you are required to apply for asylum. Like we all know, asylum is not given, it's granted. You need to apply for asylum for the protecting country to provide you with that status. Now, there are two categories of claimants. One, we have the inland applicants. The inland, you come through the airport, depending on the reason the visa was granted. Then you go through the immigration officer, they ask you why. Let's say you're coming in for a conference. So you go through the immigration interviews and you say, I've come through the conference, and you don't tell them the actual reason why you're coming into the country, because there are compelling reasons why some claimants do not mention as to why they want to seek for asylum at the point of at the airport. Some of them, they fear for deportation. Others say they are not well conversant with the legal procedures to seek for asylum. So usually when you're cleared from the airport, then you come into the territories of that country. Then you have 15 days to make your basis of claim and seek for asylum. Now, there are those who, when they come in at the airport, they outrightly declare at the point of entry. So once you declare at the point of entry, your profile, an interview is done in regard to your claim, and you're sent to a shelter. But when you're sent to a shelter, you need to file, because there's a time frame for you to file for the basis of claim. It's 15 days. So within that time frame, you need to work on your basis of claim and file it. So before you work on your basis of claim, you need to tell your story in form of a narration or a narrative. So in that, because sometimes to save time, you can't go into writing the whole narrative because it's time consuming. But then the basis of claim, it's a summary of your narration. You have the narration, which is the story, and then you have the basis of claim. So the basis of is a summary of your narrative, but then it highlights the reasons for why you want to be given asylum. So you have to outline those grounds. It has a place where you need to fill out your personal information, family composition, and also the information of your legal representative. Why? Because at that point in time, it helps you, because the purpose is for you to present your claim before the Immigration and Refugee Board. So once that is done, or usually depends on if you're so fast, some people are so fast, so you find that within the 15 days, the time lapse, within the 15 days, the narrative is done, the basis of claim is done, so you can file them concurrently. But sometimes if you're out of time, so the best thing is just do the basis of claim, but then make sure it's watertight with your narrative, because usually that's where problems have arisen, where you find because of the rush, you've left out some of the important protective grounds that you should have incorporated into the narrative to enable you have a meaningful court hearing. But even when you file the basis of claim, is that the final document? I would say yes. But the law, the Immigration and Refugee Protection Act, and the procedures thereunder, it gives you the laxity to do an amendment. Within 10 days before your disclosure, individual disclosure, because 10 days to your hearing, you're supposed to submit documents in support of your claim. So in that regard, you can do an amendment to your narrative, which is the story. So once that has been achieved,